And in this series, I actually have, I think, an unpopular opinion, but I bought it as a complete set, which is one of the most regretful moments in my life. Hello everyone! Welcome back to my channel. This is Sinag and welcome to a new video. So in this one, I'm going to show you all of the books in my physical TBR, or not necessarily TBR because some of these or most of these I have read. So this is just all the books that I have currently in my possession as physical books. So most of them are in paperbacks, but some of them are actually in hard copy or hardcover edition. So majority, if not all of these books are bought when I was in high school. So when I was in high school, I don't know that Kindles and Kindle Unlimited exist. So I used to buy books or borrow books from my friends. So this is a little bit of my collection since then. But before the pandemic actually started, I was able to rehome some of the books because I'm the type of person that as I age, I realized that I don't really like collecting books or having unnecessary items in my space. Some, if not most of the books that I have given away were actually not favorite books for me. So I don't really see the point of keeping them anymore. And yeah, so I just gave it to my siblings as friends. So the books that are left in my collection right now are books that are either I love and I want to keep it and reread it, or they are books that I want to read to get my money's worth and then soon give it to others who would want to read it. So before we dive in with all of the books that I have in my physical collection, I just wanted to say that right now at this time in my life, I am 23 years old. I gravitate toward ebooks more than physical books for the reason that I don't really like a lot of things in my space, especially those that I don't use a lot. So I would categorize books as something that I don't regularly use. If I'm going to keep a book or books, it's going to be a favorite of mine, or if I enjoyed reading the book and if I can see myself reading it sometime in the near future. So my plan is to finish reading all of these books before I turn 25. So I still have 2 years to finish all of these books. So let's start with the book that I first bought with my own money. So that's Dork Diaries Party Time. So this was actually bought back in 2012. So I was actually first year in high school or grade 7 when I bought this one, because I actually borrowed a book from my classmate, the first book in this series, and I was hooked. And when I asked her if I could read the next books in this series, she said that she doesn't have this one. So I go to the National Bookstore and bought one for myself. I think this is a very cheesy but very cute book to read. It reads very YA. Back then, when I first read this, I was in that age range, and so I really loved it. But I tried to reread it during the pandemic, but I was not able to finish it. The next book in my collection, I got as a gift from my best friend when I was in grade 8 naman. So that's second year high school. So this is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. So that was actually back in 2013. So I got it as a Christmas gift from her. I have here The Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice and The Vampire Lestat. When I was younger, I think in elementary, I watched the movie The Queen of the Damned, and the vampires in there are so hot. So when I saw that, and I remember that the main vampire, the main character in that one is Lestat. So when I saw in the National Bookstore this The Vampire Lestat, I automatically bought it. And then when I saw that there's a book for the actual movie, or yeah, so it's The Queen of the Damned, so I also bought it. So but I tried to read The Vampire Lestat before, but I wasn't able to finish it because I feel like there's too much description in here and I really don't care a lot. And then The Queen of the Damned, I wasn't able to start reading because I want to read this first, and I don't know. One thing for sure is that I don't like to keep these two books, so I'm just going to read this and then give it away. So, and the next is Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. I really don't know why I bought it, but I just saw it in National Bookstore, and when I read the synopsis at the back, I was kind of hooked, so I bought it, and I think I gave this 4 stars. The Timekeeper by Mitch Albom. So, from what I can remember, this one and another book that I'm going to talk about later, I bought just because I was included in a book competition. It's like a quiz bee but about books, and they gave us the list of books that we should read, and we are going to be quizzed about it. So, from what I can remember, we got first place. I also bought Heartless by Marissa Meyer. I bought this because I love the Lunar Chronicles series a lot, and so when I saw this in a national bookstore, I bought it. First of all, I love the cover. So all of my books pala, I put in a plastic cover so that they won't be damaged. But yeah, so this one, I love the cover, that's why I bought it. And I actually started reading this during the pandemic as well. So with my Juanito Alfonso bookmark. So I was able to get to page 80, but I stopped because I realized, that's the time where I realized that I don't really like reading YA, and this is very YA. I want to finish this and then give it away. Hunting for a Highlander. So, the only reason why I bought this is because I saw this in a thrift store. So, I bought it for 55 pesos. It's very cheap, and I really don't care about what they look like or what the books look like. So, the spine in here is cracked already, and it's not in a very excellent condition. It's a good condition, but not excellent. When I was in high school, we have this quiz bee, right? And another book that is a required reading for that quiz bee is The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown. So I bought this book. I think I only bought this for 50 pesos in book sale. So it's very cheap. That's why I bought it. And I was hooked with this one. So when I was in high school, I was actually a mystery girly. Yeah, so I think I'm a mystery and romance girly, but yeah, so I bought a lot of Dan Brown. After reading this, I bought a lot of Dan Brown's books for full retail price. I also have Digital Fortress and Deception Point. So this two, and Angels and Demons. So these three, aside from the Da Vinci Code, I have read already. So these two are kind of mediocre for me, but especially this one, I still enjoyed it somehow, but it's not as interesting as the Da Vinci Code. And then Deception Point, the only reason why I enjoyed this, I think, is because of the science. And I don't really care about the politics discussed in here, but the science I like. And then Angels and Demons, I really love this one because of all of the twists and turns. And then obviously Da Vinci Code, I also love this. This is the first book of him that I really enjoyed. These three I haven't read yet, but I started Inferno and I was not able to finish this one. So I got this as a gift pala, that's why it's a hardback or hardcover. But as you can see, there's a lot of yellowing of the pages na. From what I've read so far, this is really good, so I want to finish this. And then I also bought The Lost Symbol and Origin. I don't know what these books are all about, but these are both from the Robert Langdon series. So the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. So these books I actually bought on Instagram, and I got this for me personally, I think very low price, because all of these books, how many is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all 6 of these books I bought for, I think, 1,500 only. And this is actually also YA, but I enjoyed it more than the other YA in my collection. I reread this during the pandemic, and I really enjoyed it. And it is so fast. I think the reason why I like this is because it is so fast-paced, and it is based on a retelling, which I love retelling. So I think that's the reason why I enjoyed it a lot. One thing that I like about this series is that the continuity or the overarching plot was able to be executed well in all of these books. So the next books is the Shatter Me series. It's not complete. I don't plan to buy or to read the next 3 books after these 3 books. But I bought it actually back when I was grade 8, because grade 8 is like my peak reader era, wherein I was not just reading Wattpad books, but I was also buying books or physical books in national bookstore. So this one I bought back in 2013, and I love this book a lot. I remember I read this during a typhoon. Tried to reread it during the pandemic, and I was not able to finish it because I realized that I don't like the writing style of Tahereh Mafi anymore. So her writing style was very flowery and feels like a stream of consciousness for me. And right now in my reading life, I realized that I want my books to be straightforward and not that flowery like this one. And I wasn't able to finish or at least attempt to read these books. My plan is to give this series a try, and then if I really don't like it, then give it away. But I want to at least get my money's worth. And then this series, I actually have, I think, an unpopular opinion, because most people hated this series, especially the last book, but I actually really love it. So it's the Divergent series by Veronica Roth. So I bought these 2 books, the first 2 books, using my own money, and then I got Allegiant as a gift. And my unpopular opinion is that I actually love this book series a lot, and a lot of people don't like the last book for what happened in the book, but for me personally, I really like what happened in here. So I really enjoyed this, and I reread it during the pandemic alongside the Lunar Chronicles, and I love both series a lot. So I plan to reread this as well. Actually, I'm going to read Divergent, the first book, during a a readathon. So I'm going to use it in one of the prompts for Throwbackathon this year. So I think by the time that you're watching this, my vlog for that video or for that readathon was already up. So I'm going to link you in that vlog in the cards above or in the description box. So let's now go on with the books that are published here in the Philippines. The first books that I'm going to talk about were written by one of my favorite Filipino authors, which is Bob Ong. So the first book that I have read from him is Aba Nakakabasa na pala ako. This is actually not the copy that I read first. My aunt has a copy of this one when I was in elementary, and she let me borrow it, and yeah, that's my first experience reading a Bob Ong book. And I also bought Stainless Longganisa. My recent bought from him is C. The next book that I have is Para Kay B by Ricky Lee. So the reason why I bought this is because this is a favorite book of one of the main characters in another book that we're going to talk about. This is Ate Leng's favorite book from what I can remember. I also have Habang Wala Pa Sila, poems by Juan Miguel Severo. I've known Juan Miguel Severo with his poems or with his videos in YouTube. Spoken word poetry with Ang Huling Tula na Isusulat Ko Para Sa'yo and Isang Letra. So if I can still find those videos of his spoken word poetry, I'm going to link it down below because it's really good. I love his I love his emotions while reading this one, and I just enjoyed it. So I'm not going to give it away because I really love all of these poems, especially when I remember or when I watch his videos and see how he says or how he performs his poems. So I highly recommend this one as well. Tahereh. So this is originally written by Dr. Jose Rizal, but this is pinaikling version, so short version written by Gladys E. Jimena and Leslie S. Navarro. So I prefer the book that I've read when I was in high school, but the only reason why I bought this is because I want to be reminded of this book. It's basically a reminder for me to save money to buy the gorgeous books that I want of Tahereh. I don't know if I can still find a version of it. Because one day I was scrolling on Facebook and I saw this limited edition, exclusive edition of Tahereh and El Filibusterismo. I have my Prince 1 and 2. This is by Alyloony. Next series that I have is written by Ate Ena, so Ena Guevara. So it's class 3, She Has a Secret. So I have book 1, volumes 1 and 2, and then book 2, volumes 1 and 2. I was definitely a mystery / horror / romance girly when I was in high school. So yeah, and I also like the twists and turns in this one. So I want to reread it first before giving it away, if I still want to give it away. She Died by Have You Seen This Girl or Ate Denny, and it is illustrated by Angeli Shoes. So the first edition of I Love You Since 1892 by Undeniably Gorgeous or Binibining Mia. So this is the biggest book that I have in my collection. This is the most expensive book that I have in my collection. So I have read its entirety on Wattpad, and I wasn't able to read it yet as a physical copy. Yeah, but I plan to read it. I plan to read it, but I'm not looking forward to it because I know that this book will make me cry, and this is really heavy. So I know this book will make me cry, and with its content, I just need to be in my best mental health condition to be able to read this and finish this. My favorite Filipino romance author is Ate Leng, so Shirlengtearjerky or Leng de Chavez. And the first book that I actually bought from her is her self-published one, If I Fall. So this is side A and side B, and I really like this book covers a lot. And I was actually in high school when I first bought this, and I don't know how I did it because, yeah, December 18, 2015. I was grade 9, third year in high school. I also bought the traditionally published version of this book. So If I Fall, pop fiction edition. So this is actually my favorite, my favorite friendship dynamics in books, and I love the romances in here. This also has a love triangles. I'm also planning to do a reading vlog or video comparison between the self-published edition and the traditionally published one, because these also have different endings. And from what I know from this ending, I think I would still prefer the self-published more than this one. I bought Ate Leng's latest self-pub release, which is The Spaces in Between. I don't know if it's still the latest one, but this is very big, and this is actually the only romance that has a famous person or an actor in it that I like. So I really love Ate Leng's writing style, and yes, I haven't read it in its physical form yet. So I also have the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. So I have the complete set because I bought it as a complete set, which is one of the most regretful moments in my life. So before I give it away, I plan to get my money's worth first. So that's all for the physical books in my TBR, or all of the physical books in my collection. So what are the books that you would like for me to read first? And if you have read any of these books that I have talked about, what are your thoughts about it? Please comment it down below. So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you on my next one. Bye!